Hey, Trucker,
What's up, Mayor?
do you like The Evil Dead? Or it's just known as
Ah,
Evil Dead?
oh, absolutely. You like the Evil Dead?
Love Evil Dead.
Let's talk about that.
I would love to. This is the brilliance of.
Story about
This is a
story
story of.
about how Trucker will never like to live in a house with a root cellar.
This is a story of love, loss, uh, the dangers of vacationing in the woods, and the dangers of screwing around with the occult.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is the genius of Bruce Campbell, who is on the Mount Rushmore of male actors. I'm just gonna say that with absolute confidence because Bruce Campbell is a genius. I don't know if this is the
Master
right.
of he, he's a master of comedic delivery.
This might not be the right movie poster, but we're sticking with it. This movie, I adore this movie, but one of the things when I watched it when I was kind of younger, so it was scary in a great, in a good way. Young enough to be scared, old enough to understand that it's just a movie kind of thing. But I went and rewatched all of them again, and I was like, yeah, I remember this scaring me, but now it's going to just be kind of a silly, goofy thing. I'll laugh at it and all that other stuff, and you start realizing things that you didn't pick up on as a kid, and it's even more brutal as an adult.
So you're telling me that Evil Dead was for you like The Exorcist was for me?
Probably, yeah.
Because I didn't see Evil Dead until I was, well into my teens.
I was like, I was 11.
My favorite thing about it was it cost like a little over $250,000 to make, and it made back damn near 30 million box office. So massive hit.
Yeah, it's just everything you want in a cabin horror movie, and one that's gonna go supernatural as opposed to the classic slasher. Like, it truly does everything it's meant to do and more. It is absolutely brilliant. The cabin is tiny, yet they make it feel huge with all the things that happen in it. They really work within their space very well.
And you know what? You know what's crazy about it? Like it wasn't a set built cabin. That is a real cabin in Morristown, Tennessee, and you can still go to it. It's kind of like it's almost like a pilgrimage for Evil Dead fans.
I'd like to go see
You
it.
can actually go to the cabin.
I think I'd like to go see that cabin.
It is easily one of the most successful cult classics of all time, just
It's
in general terms.
it's so well done. Uh, though I will say, the trees in that movie have probably been to a certain island because they were very inappropriate.
Insanely. But you know what? Your takeaway from it is, you know, don't vacation in sketchy wooded cabins. My takeaway is don't mess with a book that has a face. You know, just don't do it.
Yeah, it introduces the Necronomicon, and of course, some idiot jock in their friend group decides to read it. Somehow he knows how to pronounce all the words, probably because it's an evil book and it made it easy for him. And then it releases, what do they call them? Deadites.
Yeah.
these lesser demons essentially. They're a lot of fun. They're funny. Those those demons
It
are
does.
hilarious.
It does the deadites, but it also releases the spirits that basically inhabit and possess the trees that you were mentioning a second ago.
Yeah.
But it also infests the actual cabin itself. Like the building becomes, like a nexus point of demonic possession. It's, oy. It's just one of those movies where you're like, man, why'd y'all have to do that?
It is also one of the most prime examples of taking your franchise serious enough to build a very complex and in-depth world while not taking it while being self-aware enough to recognize it for what it is. It is very well detailed, but it is very clearly meant to be silly in some aspects.
Yeah, it's like, don't get us wrong, it is a brilliantly gruesome slasher flick. But the slashers are not really, one guy, it's a bunch of demons doing all of the slashing. But it also is self aware enough to make fun of itself.
Yeah, it constantly is making fun of itself, but still being keeping enough of the horror alive that it's still like, oh, that's awful, that's so creepy, I hate it.
Hmm?
Yeah, Bruce Campbell made this with his friend, and then his friend eventually just couldn't or wouldn't do another one. So he took it upon himself to get the permission from the director to keep the series alive. So Bruce Campbell
Yeah,
did the
Sam
second.
Raimi.
Yeah, he took it upon himself to do out of his own pocket to make Evil Dead 2 and then Evil Dead Forces of Darkness, I think it was, the really stupid one where they go back in time. That one was great. And then years later, I forget which network, but I watched the whole show. They did the Evil Dead show, and Bruce Campbell's in it, and it's awesome.
I just love messing with people like that because it's like, hey guys, did you know the same guy that made the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie also made Evil Dead?
Yeah,
And people don't believe me. It's like one of the more iconic comic book movies of the 2000s was also made by the guy who gave us the Evil Dead. Like he directed it, he wrote it. It's like that's great. I love that. I love all of that.
it's a brilliant. I don't know. I can't say enough about it. It's brilliant. Uh,
And yeah, like Army of Darkness was silly, but it was still scary to a
yeah,
degree. But that was where Sam Raimi was like, you know what? I bet I can make this funnier. And he did. It's funny while still being scary.
the show really keeps that alive too.
That's one thing that I wish more horror movies did. Like the rash of horror movies from like the 2000s into the early teens, they don't put any kind of humor in there to balance out, you know, the pants shitting moments. They just try to be scary, 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 a little less scary, but more scary. They never try to balance it out.
But you don't want it to
Evil
be.
Dead, Evil Dead was scary, funny, scary, 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 funny. That was also one of the reasons why the Nightmare on Elm Street movies weren't really so scary to me because Freddy was fucking hilarious to me.
We like to end these things typically with a band and or movie, or a band and or song suggestion. I don't know which one to do. But it's actually your turn. Maybe you'll inspire me.
Let's see. Huh. Let's go with something appropriate.
I have to go appropriate.
No, I'm trying to think about something appropriate for the movie. Had to hell with it. Let's go with House of 1,000 Corpses by Rob Zombie.
That's very on the nose.
I know.
You know what?
It's accurate.
This one actually is a thinking man's reference, but still thematically appropriate if you know the movie at all. But I'll go with Big Iron by Marty Robbins. That's a thinking man's joke. You all have a good one.
Bye, everybody.